Hello, in this video, we will recap what Serilog Enrichers are and try them out. If you want to follow along, which I recommend, you can download the code from this GitHub repository. The link will be provided in the video description below. You can also experiment on this code base to see different results. Before we start, let's run the application first. Ctrl+, cd API, .NET patch run. Because it's starting for the first time, let's just wait. Okay, so you notice that there is the time, the type of the log, and then there is the message. Okay, now let's update the output template. So let's go to the API programs. Let's close this first, and then let's go to configure logger method. Then in the create logger, in the write to console, let's change the output template. So output template, then we'll just add in timestamp, dd minutes, second, and then next we'll add the level. So this will be the info. So 3 characters. Then let's add in the message. LJ. Then new line. Exception. Save. And let's see the result. Ctrl+, building. So now we have the date and the time, type, and then the message. First, let's try out CorrelationId. CorrelationId allows us to group actions together. For example, an API was called twice at the same time. Using CorrelationId, we can identify which logs relate to which API. Okay, now so we're installing the NuGet. Ctrl+Shift+P, then open NuGet gallery. This is an extension we added. Then find Serilog Enrichers .CorrelationId. Okay, then install on the API. Okay, close it. So this will restart. Okay, next we just close all of this. Then go to program.cs again. And then update this logger configuration .enrich with CorrelationId. Okay, that should be a method. And then we'll add here, after the time, we'll add correlation id colon curly brace correlation id. Okay, once we save, Ctrl+ again, so it will start. It will have the correlation id here. So now we will try to call the endpoint. One additional step that we miss is to add the HTTP context accessor. So let's go to startup, services. Let's go to maybe after the controller, services, add HTTP context accessor method, and then semicolon. Okay, now let's run the API. Okay, now let's go to the Swagger. Remember to use the HTTPS, even if there's a slash, it's okay. And if there is a warning before this page, just click to proceed. And then let's go to the membership because this already has been pre-populated. Let's click and then try it out and execute. So there should be some membership because we have a seed function there. Now let's see in the console. So as you can see, there is a correlation ID, and it's the same between when it started. So let's see, call the endpoint and then create a DTO, then it called the stored procedure. So it has the same correlation ID. I'll try to click execute multiple times now. So you can see the correlation ID is different. I cannot click fast enough to show multiple API being called at the same time, but you get the point. So it will have the different ID if it called in a different occasion. Okay, now so I'll just do a clean up. Close this first, remove the correlation ID, and then we'll proceed to the next one. And remove the enrich also. Then go to startup, and then remove this context accessor. Next, let's try the enricher of environment. With this, we can add the machine name. For me, I think the use case scenario for this is if there are multiple server running your API and you can see which machine is running that particular call and maybe causing some error, so you can detect this machine have problem but the other machine might not have, and then you can do your investigation from there. Okay, now so let's install the NuGet. Control Shift P, NuGet gallery, and then Serilog Enrichers environment. Sorry about that. Context environment API, and then install. Okay, once installed, close. Okay. Okay, now let's add the code. Let's go to program.cs. Here in the configure logger, that with that enrich, that with environment machine name. Okay, function, and then let's add here after the date machine name, semicolon machine name. Okay, let's save. Control tilde. Okay, so machine name is now showing up, so you know which server is running your application. Okay, now let's just clean up. Remove the machine name here, and then the machine name there. And then if you want to go further, you can go here in the API. Just remove the NuGet, the correlation ID in the environment. Okay. Next enricher is a thread. So I imagine your application having multi-threaded. So you call another application, maybe await, and then you can see other process may be running. So that may be the use case for this one. Okay, now let's install the NuGet. Control Shift P, open NuGet gallery, Serilog.enricher, the thread, enrichers.thread, and API, and then install. Okay, close this one. Okay, now in the source code, let's go to program, then configure logger. Let's add the enricher, that enrich, that with thread ID, and then add in here after the timestamp again, thread ID colon thread ID. Okay, save. So in the log, it will now show the thread ID. Let's try to execute the get membership multiple times. So there's different thread ID. Okay, now let's just do the cleanup. Remove the thread ID here. Also the enrich here. And then also up this here, so it's easy to see. Okay, save. The enricher process can provide us process ID and process name. I think the use case for this is to determine the application running. If you, for example, run multiple applications and push them to the same log file. Okay, now let's try to install the NuGet. Control Shift P, open NuGet gallery, Serilog Enrichers dot process. Okay, install. Okay, once done, we can close this. Okay, now let's add the code. Go to program.cs and then here in the configure log dot enrich dot process with process ID, and then we can add another one that enrich with process name. Okay, and then let's add here process ID and open close process ID, and then process name, open close process name. Okay, let's save. Okay, now you can see the process ID included and the process name, which is API. I'll try to run the get membership list, so it will be the same process ID and process name. Okay, now let's just do the cleanup. Remove this, enrich, and then delete the process ID in the template, output template. Okay, save. Then you might want to update also this. Just remove the NuGet package. Okay, save. ClientInfo displays two things, the client IP and the client agent. So because our application is currently run locally, I cannot show the exact client IP, but it will show my IP. And then for the client agent, it shows multiple browser. I'm not sure why this is the case, but when I try different browser like Edge and Chrome, it shows different result. Okay, now let's install the NuGet. Control Shift P, open NuGet gallery, and then Serilog.Enrichers .ClientInfo. Okay, install. Once successful, close it. Press any key, close. Okay, now let's go to the code. Program.cs. Let's update the template. The logger configuration. So that enrich with client IP. That enrich with client agent. Okay. And then let's go here after the timestamp. Let's put client IP. And open, close, client IP, client agent. I mean client agent only. Colon, client agent. Let's see. Okay, so for this particular enricher, we need to add also in the configure service inside the startup services that add HTTP context accessor. Okay, save. Okay, now let's run get list from the Chrome browser. But first, let's hit Control tilde and then I will call. Okay, so you can see this is my IP because it's localhost, and then the browser has an enumeration, but it shows the Chrome and the version. And then let's try the Edge. Get also. Wait. So I'll execute the get, and then you can see we need to compare. $39. Oh, this one. 59 and then 32. So there's a gap here. So you can see it added an edge here. So that might be a clue that this is an edge. But there is also, it's also saying Chrome. So it's not the directly, it does not directly tell you which browser the user is using, but just a clue on what range. Okay. Okay, again, let's do a cleanup. Let's remove this HTTP context accessor. And then let's remove this enrich. And remove the client IP and the client agent. Okay, then let's go to the API and then Just remove the package. Okay. So last enricher we will be checking is the memory. So this will just show the memory usage of the application. To install the NuGet, Control Shift P, open NuGet gallery, and then Serilog.enricher, enrichers, that memory. Okay, installing the API. Okay, then close. So for the code, let's go back to program.cs. In the configure logger, in the logger configuration, let's add the enrich that with memory usage. Okay, then we'll add here after the timestamp again memory colon memory usage. Save. Okay, now let's test. Control tilde, and then let's run the application. So I'll call the endpoint again, the memory membership, get list of membership. So now let's go down, sorry. So it shows the memory usage. Okay, so you notice it's increasing. So I'm not sure why this particular API is increasing in memory and I don't see it lowering down. So maybe there's a timing for the garbage collection, or maybe we need to do a cleanup in the future. So I'll explore this further, but this is the memory. So to summarize, here are the enrichers that we use in this video. I included the NuGet, author enricher, how to add in template, and if it requires HTTP context accessor. There are more enrichers, but these are the ones I see that can be useful. You can combine this in the template so you are not limited to only be using one. That's all for this video. Please hit like and subscribe to help me provide guidance to more people. Comment below for questions and topics you would like to be discussed. Thank you and good day.